We're on. Welcome to another episode of the Visual Div. We've been AWOL for a couple of days. Matt's been ill. Ailín's been working hard.
Partying. Matt's gone over to Wales and he's been partying hard. Don't believe the bullshit.
I was necking cough mixture. Oh, exactly. Like, it's a Wednesday. Come on. You're not allowed to drink. And also, you're drinking Heineken. What are you doing drinking Heineken?
There was no water in the fridge. I'm thirsty.
That's not even an excuse for drinking Heineken. Gee,
it doesn't feel like
we might have to call this a day already. You can restart if you want, but we can't have people thinking that you drink Heineken. Anyway, today, as Jack keeps telling us, today we need to introduce what we're going to talk about before we go into the how's you doing, and we are going to talk about branching, or as Darren on Twitter called it, Branchgate. I don't know why they Branchgate. I don't know why they put gate after all those things. I still haven't I'll use the word, but I don't know what gate. Like there was Watergate, and then there's other gates all over the place. But I don't know why that. I need to find out why
they. It's because of Watergate.
Anyway, because of Watergate, but I still don't know why gate is part of Watergate. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna talk about Branchgate and give our opinion and thoughts and concerns and positive and negatives. But before we go into that, how are you doing, Ailín, apart from drinking Heineken?
I'm good. I'm pretty tired, but good. Tomorrow I'm going to be amazing because tomorrow Maven turns 1. So that's kind of cool. That's awesome. It's really, really cool. So I'm taking the day off tomorrow and just doing nothing, just hanging out. Me, Vanessa, and Maven. And maybe a few people come up for a bit of cake and stew. So that's it. Tomorrow's exciting. The last couple of weeks have been, a lot of work, a lot of pressure. Launched a product to a soft launch of what we built on Webflow, the web app that we built. And it soft launched to quite a lot of people last Thursday, and we're just managing it at the moment and following the users and seeing what bugs there are. So I thought I'd be relaxed after last Thursday, but it's pretty stressful seeing the thing. There just seems to be like the staff who are using the product, they just see the problems. They don't see the solutions. It's a very strange thing. It's like, but you're working on this product now and it's working well. And basically what usually turns up is like, yeah, but it's not Microsoft or it's not Google. It's like, well, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, but wait, although Ailín, you do have 3 offices, you're still a one-man team, and you're not 2 offices. Yeah. Sorry, 2 offices and your Airbnb from last week, but
yeah,
you're still not
down into an office as well. That's a camper van office.
So although on your website you do say you have 5 offices in different locations, you're not yet a Google or Microsoft. So that's what you're saying, really, isn't it? There's the pause. there's the reliable internet pause that we have.
Yeah. I work in a lot of places, but
but I think
over the last week you disappeared. Everybody was searching for you on Twitter, and then you pop up and disappear, and you were back but you weren't back. It's like, what was going on?
So obviously I rode over to Ireland. I finished my rode over to Ireland. Sorry, I live in Ireland. I rode over to Wales. No, we got the ferry over to Wales, and we just had a week off. I took the laptop with me, didn't open the laptop, which was brilliant. But I actually did get sick, which meant that I was not feeling 100%. We still kind of made the most of it, but yeah, it wasn't. You know what happens? You go on holiday and you get sick as you go on holiday. Luckily, it wasn't a a big sort of expensive, planned out for a year holiday. It was just go and visit mum in Wales and just, chill out. So it wasn't all bad, but yeah, it was good. So but I'm glad to be back. I am glad to be back, even though the weather over here is still raining. It still gets dark at 3:00. I'm glad to be back. Winds off at the childminders, which is always good.
Nice.
And but honestly, I missed. I know you've been bugging me. To let's record. We need to record. We need to record. I can carve an hour here. No, I can't really carve an hour. I sound like a toad. Yeah, I do sound like a toad. But I have missed the kind of momentum start that we got. So yeah, it's good to.
This is just the professional environment that you and I work in. It's just kerfuffles, maybe a kerfuffle, maybe a pod. We're just teasing. We're just leaving it. It's like, oh, what's happening?
You're right though. We've got to give our listeners what they want, which is us talking crap about stuff. So, but talking about that, the kerfuffle this week, we don't know. Of course we don't.
All right, let's get into Branchgate.
Branchgate. No, honestly, Branchgate. So obviously the timing, you've been working very hard on a web app, which obviously has a lot more complexities than just a simple marketing site. And branching was released branching's been around on the enterprise plan for quite a while now. I remember going back almost over a year now, I suppose, and I was invited to, as part of an enterprise agency, invited to test it out. And I remember a few of us tested it out, and we're like, this isn't branching as we know it. And fair play, the guys were like, the product team over at Webflow were like, right, no, this is early stages, and we're going to be rolling out new development. So when it first came out, I didn't miss it. I wasn't clamoring to go, hey, I'm not an enterprise. I don't deal with enterprise clients with my freelance business. So I wasn't missing branching because the features I thought didn't actually make much sense. Roll on a year, and they've obviously improved things and added little features to this branch feature. And now it's getting to a point where it's relatively mature. Maybe it's not mature, but it's relatively capable. And there are features on there that a lot of non-enterprise people are now looking at and going, oh, that's interesting. And I guess the release of these latest features with the work that you were doing with your web app have coincided with a little bit of a feeling of disenchantment, I guess, is a good way to put it, of why are features like branching, and we'll maybe go into why branching is pretty important, why features such as branching are gated from non-enterprise customers. So yeah, I don't know if you wanted to sort of recap your experience.
Yeah, so what we've done is built a product that is all on Webflow. The stack is all no code. It's Webflow, Slater. Member Stack is the authorization software, and then integration with Airtable as well. And the reason that I've done this is that each of those things are in their own individual rights. They're flexible, incredibly powerful. But if we become too big for these tools, we can plug one out quite easily and integrate it with a new product. And that even includes Webflow. Like if we get too big for Webflow, or if Webflow doesn't serve a purpose for us, we can essentially download the HTML and CSS and put it onto a Django framework if we want. It'll take a bit of work, but it's possible. And that's one of the awesome securities about Webflow, is that you're locked in to a certain extent, but you're not completely locked in. That if you were using, for example, Bubble, if you built a product on Bubble, it would be very difficult to move from Bubble. All those tools are awesome, but the more you get into like a completely integrated ecosystem, the harder it is to move from that individual product. So literally Thursday we soft launched, and there's potentially there's a lot of people. Like it's been launched to like about 10,000 people. Like we're not going to have 10,000 users because we're a very niche service, but we've had the most amount of people log in on over the last 5 days, 10 days. So what are we on? 5 working days than we've had before, and it's been working really well. But like literally the last week, the CTO, so there's a fractional CTO who's coming in and helping me with security and with architecture and this kind of stuff. And I'm doing all the dev work, and then we've got designers. And first thing he said was that basically said it frightens him, the stack, because one is because it's not a traditional stack that he's used to, but two, the main reason is that there isn't versioning, branching, and more collaboration access in Webflow, particularly. So the issue there is if we want to put a code freeze on what we have now and just fix bugs, we can't really do that. We can't really, unless what our solution is right now is to duplicate the product, leave one sitting there, work on the other one, and then move the hosting back and forth. That's the solution that we have, which isn't practical.
And just for maybe folks that don't understand why you would need to do that, what's the for example, one question might be, why don't you just fix bugs and just publish them? What's stopping you doing that in the environment that you're working
in? There's nothing, but if there's 10 bugs, let's say, and you're going through, and two people are working on the bugs, and if bug B is causing more bugs, and bug A is fixed, you have to publish both of those. You can't publish individually. And that's on the front end of Webflow. You can't do that. So that's a balls. So like if I'm working on the main dashboard and for example, on the main dashboard, there's a card that has a meeting schedule card that pops up after a meeting is scheduled. And there's a flicker with that at the moment. I can't work on that at the moment. I have to duplicate the whole page, work on the JavaScript and work on the product on the front end. And then I'd have to flip the hosting over to make sure that it's completely safe. Like I can't, because
why can't you work on it?
Because if I'm working on this now and it causes more bugs, and then there's something minor that needs to be published, like a spelling mistake, we can't do that. So because both of them, that's probably it. That's a good example there. So you've got a bug, something that isn't working optimally, and then you've noticed a typo in another section, and the CEO is like, "Oh, can you fix that typo?" I can't fix that typo until I've sorted out that bug. And now there's ways around it. Like you can completely hide the element from the DOM. Actually, Alicia gave us a good idea where what she does is she duplicates the main and then works on the individual on the new main and then hides it from the DOM and then publishes. But it's still a hack. Like it's not a proper solution.
Yeah. So what the problem is at the moment, I suppose, is that there's I guess what you call a linear publishing route is when, as you say, when you're working on this bug, for example, and that bug might be a 10-minute fix, but it might be a 2-day fix because you need to troubleshoot things. And like the bug on its own, you push the staging and you go, okay, let's test this out. And then you use the console and then you go through some user stories and test all these things out, and you can't figure out what's going on. And then maybe you get someone else involved to help you out, or you don't. But at the end of the thing, you can't draw a line under this bug. So you can't go, hey, look, I've fixed this bug. And in the meantime, as you said, someone comes along and goes, oh, I've seen this simple thing that I need to be changed, whether it's a typo or whether it's something super simple. because you're halfway through fixing a bug, and even though it's on staging, you can't do it. It's like you have to finish the bug fixing before you can move on to the next thing, and therefore there's a kind of blockage in the pipe, as it were.
Yeah, like
and what
one
branch?
thing I've done
Yeah, what
is
branching?
one thing I've done is I've noted when I started working on this bug. Let's say it was yesterday at 12 o'clock, and then I'd keep going, and then a small fix would need to come in. Then you go back and you go through your history and re-upload the previous version from yesterday at 12 o'clock, publish that with the typo, and then go back to what you saved 15 minutes ago, re-upload that, and then go again and put in the type. You'd have to put the typo in again, fix the typo again, because it wouldn't have been fixed in the previous version. But you can see there, like, even that solution, it's a hack, like it's a workaround, and it could easily be that, like, 2 hours later I fixed the bug, and then I publish and I've forgotten about that stupid typo, and the CEO is coming back to me going, I thought you fixed that typo. Why is that typo back? And it's,
Yep.
they only see the things that are like at face value that are annoying. Like, you should never have a typo, but they happen. But they make you look incompetent, even though you fixed this problem in the background. They don't know and care about that type of stuff. So yeah, branching, look, it all comes down to this. I see this as a development tool. And if we want this to be a development tool, it needs to have these kind of features. Now, we don't need to have like 40 developers being able to work on something like this, but we do need a form of branching, and we do need more team collaborative features. And
like,
you said they're available to enterprise customers. They're available to enterprise developers, which is really, really frustrating, because and there's, to become an enterprise partner, you need to do enterprise work to become an enterprise partner. But how are you supposed to do enterprise work if they're gating enterprise features to the developers that they have already on their platform?
Yeah.
And
well,
I find that really, really annoying, because like this company I'm working for now, we're not enterprise yet, but we're going to be fucking enterprise. And preventing me make this company an enterprise level product using Webflow, it's gating the enterprise customers of the future. What I see, like, I think what they've done is awesome. It's a really, really amazing feature. But by gating it, like, fine, gate it to enterprise gate it to enterprise customers, but gating it to the likes of you and I, that's putting a glass ceiling on our work, not because of our skill set, but because of who we've had as customers, and not because of our experience in Webflow, but because of just because we haven't worked with an enterprise company that's paying insane amounts of money, or we're not in an agency that just happens to have taken on a few Webflow client developers, and now all of a sudden are enterprise level because of their legacy of client lists. I just think that's incredibly unfair, especially with
well, I was going to say, I just think if we rewind to what version control is, I think that is at the crux of what you're saying here, in the way that the branch feature is being distributed to the people or companies that can use it. So version control goes back years and years and years and years, but it's become essentially probably the gold standard of development process. So this isn't just Webflow, this is every development process. And it differs very much from offline physical processes. But it in essence allows one dev to work on multiple features, in multiple different ways. It allows one dev to work with another dev. It allows teams with 200 devs in it to work on the same product. it's like version control and branching is fundamental to today's development process ecosystem. You know, if I was to build my own, I don't know, if I was to build my own 3-page website in a development environment that isn't Webflow, I would use version control. It's just a part and parcel of development these days. But I think the key here is that it's part and parcel of the developer's process. It's not part and parcel of hosting or the client's process. So it's a tool that a developer uses to become more efficient, safer, more secure, more reliable in the way that they develop the product. And obviously that goes hand in hand then with the client being more trusting of you handling their kind of their crown jewels, as it were. So in the case of you've got a client who's come to you and gone, hey, look, can you build this product? And you've gone, yeah, this is the kind of stack I would envisage using. Off we go, and off you go, build it. And then someone who's relatively experienced, a CTO comes in and goes, hey, look, we need to fix this, or start having more serious work streams going on where we can fix bugs, but other product bits, other features can carry on being changed, or as you said, like typos can be changed. And Webflow come along and go, hey, look, we've got this feature that will allow you to do that. And yes, the company that you're working for are not paying enterprise level hosting. Why? Because they don't need it yet. As you said, like they possibly an enterprise customer of the future, but they don't need it yet. But you as a developer are now going, well, I can't offer this. Like this isn't available to me. I pay my dues to Webflow, but because you're not an enterprise customer, I can't then be more efficient at doing my job. And that's what I think is obviously grinding you, but also grinding me. Is like, this is a development tool, and they're saying unless the client pays for like top end hosting, then you can't be or offer a top end developer experience for that client. Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, like, it is frustrating. It's like, this is for us. It's not for them. It's for us. It's for us to be able to offer a service which is professional, forward thinking, market leading, all this kind of stuff, and allow us to show off the skills that we have as developers. And Webflow are saying, yeah, well, you've got to pay 20 grand a year if you want that. And you're like, well, like, it doesn't cost 20 grand a year to allow me to be the best developer I can. It's just a tool. It's nothing to do with hosting. This isn't on the Webflow. It might be their infrastructure, the way they do it might be related to hosting, but the actual end result and the facility that branching is delivering is nothing to do with the size of the company, the size of the project, anything to do with that. It's to do with giving a developer the tools that as a non-Webflow developer, they have access to for free, out of the box, day one, blank page, all this kind of stuff,
And like, just how ludicrous this whole thing is. And it is fucking ludicrous. It makes no sense that enterprise level customers get access to these features. So if I convert this company into an enterprise level customer, whatever reasons, me and this company grow together, then I get full access to all enterprise features as a developer because I've had one enterprise client. And maybe I think it's one enterprise client plus 5 employees. But then every other customer that I work with in the future has access to me and enterprise level development features in Webflow. That's fucking bonkers. Why, after the fact, because of a connection with one company, that other companies get it? Why can't they just have it from the start? Like, I just think it's so short-sighted. I think it's ridiculously unfair because it's one of those things where, the rich get richer, not the more skilled get it's not a it's a complete like glass ceiling and based off of like you could be an agency that has nothing to do with Webflow. Now that Webflow is cool and sleek, hire yourself 5 Webflow developers. Say that you've worked with Coca-Cola. Webflow will throw you down as a enterprise level development company, and now you're Jesus Christ. Within a month, you're doing this, and you've got all the features. And here, there are developers who've been with Webflow since like 2013, 2012 that don't have access to this feature. Like I've been with them since 2017, 2018. Like why can't I have it from like just pure legacy? Now I'm purely jealous, like because I want this feature and I want to be able to bring this company that I'm working with to a level using the tool of Webflow, but they're completely hindering it, and they've made a decision to do that. And we've talked about this bread on the table stuff before, but like I'll jump to VS Code and Django. If these guys say jump, I'll be like, yep, let's go. And I'll go back to a traditional stack.
Well, yeah, I think that's the sad truth of it is at the end of the day, we have to use tools, and Webflow is an interesting one because we put a lot of weight on the fact that Webflow is a great tool, and we say, look, we're Webflow developers, and as a result, we tend to attract clients who not just want a website, but they've heard about Webflow and the benefits of Webflow. So we've got a little bit of skin in the game with Webflow doing well. But at the end of the day, yeah, as you said, like when a client comes to us and goes, can we do this? And we say, no, we can't because of Webflow limitations. That is one grind, but you have to kind of explain the limitations of a tool. But when it comes to impacting our ability to do a development style or do best practice for development, and it's there, and you have to go to a client and say, look, I could do it, but you're not important enough or big enough to allow me to be able to do it. And I know, like I think I tweeted when they released it, and I said, yes, I do appreciate the business model is you have the top 20%, maybe top 10% paying 80% of the fees into Webflow as an enterprise fee, and whether we like it or not, some enterprise clients don't need any of these features. They don't use any of these,
like
but they pay top dollar. Why? Because they're
you worked on like Ellen DeGeneres' fucking website. Like, does that need branching? Like, it's a marketing website. Like, what needs branching is development soft tools people are trying to develop products. And you're trying to bring products to like an actual
but that's the thing. That's why I think
like Ellen DeGeneres' like 5-page website does not need branching, for fuck's sake. But she can make it.
Well, I would argue that it's not about whether the project you're working on, the site you're working on needs it. My argument is the developer should have a choice of whether to use it as part of their tool set or not. So if I want to work on a 5-page website and I want to use branching, because like the word 5-page doesn't mean it's not complicated. There might be lots of stuff I need to do there. But it shouldn't be down to the size or complexity of the hosting the client. It should be down to the developer. Like people can develop sites in code, the most complex projects in the world, and not use version control. It's completely up to them. Like they could just choose not to do it. Why? Because it's their choice. But when it comes to a developer's workflow, like Webflow have certain things and certain constraints, but we all live inside that. When they say, okay, look, we've released this new amazing thing that will allow developers to supercharge their workflow and, become work like traditional developers. And then they go, oh no, but you've got to be paying, your client has got to be paying 20 grand a year, or at least you've had to work for one of those clients that are 20 grand a year. As you said, it's a glass ceiling, and it's it really doesn't make me feel comfortable that Webflow are doing this for the developers. It leaves a bad taste because it says, "Oh, we're developer first, and we're going to be the developer pro tool." But actually, the feature, as you said, it's either for really rich developers, but it's for rich developers who work with rich clients who have been able to pay this money. And as you said, once they've got it, that's it. They can use it on all the sites they want to do, and that's just doesn't make any sense. Like I can't see why they would do this. It's by doing branching on Webflow and adding it as a standard feature. Now, okay, you might not have it on, say, the starter workspace plan that's free, where you can get 2 unhosted sites. You might have to say, okay, we're going to put it on the growth workspace or the studio workspace or whatever the workspaces are called. I can get that. And if I have to pay $50, $75 a month to have this development environment, which has been really thought out and built by Webflow in a way that allows me to move quickly and be more professional, then I don't mind paying that. But the fact that it's linked, as you've like rightly highlighted, the fact that it's linked to a business that I've worked for, and that I can get lucky and work for an enterprise client, or I can get very unlucky. Like as you said, your client might decide tomorrow to go, yeah, we're going to pay enterprise plan. They're going to go caution to the wind and pay it. And the fact that then unlocks your ability as a freelancer working for them to do that, it's just crazy. It's like I don't know what kind of analogy
What's
I can give.
What's more likely is my client will get, will get a huge amount of funding in the next year to 2 years, and they'll move stack. That's what's more likely. And the longer this goes on, the more they're going to see of the limitations, and they'll move. Like I'm trying to figure out like how, like I think there's so much potential with Webflow as a front end. The first time I heard that phrase was the FinSuite team. I think Joe did a live stream on it. And this was before they bought Wiz. And they were talking about how you can push backends into Webflow. And that is your template environment. And like Webflow now are like doing this deviling thing where they're trying to move the Webflow components out of Webflow into like a third-party environment. And they're moving off of Webflow. And Vlad did talk about like slots and bringing stuff back in. Like the beauty of Webflow is it's the ecosystem that you're in, the flexibility and the speed at which you can build, and just for me the visual way of building, as opposed to looking at a black screen and writing out HTML and CSS. But that ability to pull in a backend that can give greater complexities to your templated front end through Webflow, that for me is so fucking exciting. And every day I'm seeing new little ways of doing this. And like what Wiz have done is astounding. And like that's the start. That's the very, very start. And like what MemberStack are doing. But again, there's potentially better solutions of having Webflow as this completely secure front end with a back end pushing either features or code to that front end, and it all being completely safe and secure. And I think there's huge potential there. Instead of it just like marketing websites are amazing, like people are doing awesome stuff, but there's huge potential. And I just feel like they're not with this particular release. It goes against what they said at the London conf, and maybe they said it at the other conferences where they're focusing on a visual development platform. It's just like, no, you're not. That this is the one thing that developers need, is the ability to have more developers working, branching and versioning. And you've just gated it. It's like, and it's probably the way it's in it. Had a pretty hard talk with the CTO I've put a lot of fucking work into this product, and it's like, oh yeah, we're just only ever going to be an MVP. Like we'll never have this as a production ready product, and that really fucking frustrates me.
Yeah, and I think that yeah, I couldn't even see.
This
I've
is
had
going to
one
turn into
instance.
just like a bit show. We're just going to be bitching about shit.
No, no, like you
We
know,
talk about nice things.
no. Well, I
I'm
think
sorry. I'm
to be
so mad.
honest, no, I can see why you're mad, and I've come up across this limitation of branching when, and when you come up, when I say limitation, it's a moment in time where you're working on something that your clients ask you to do, and you've scoped it all out, and then you go, and then they sign off on the budget to do it, and then you go, right, let's go. And then as you start working on things crop up, or the client has new demands for, I'm launching this week, and they haven't told you about it, but they're gonna, all that kind of stuff.
It's
And
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, but and you reach for what you would have reached for in the past, and yourself and I have worked with version control in the past, and initially it takes a while to get your head around how this version control works and why do you need it and what's the benefits. Once it clicks, you're like, oh my, this is the best thing since sliced bread. This is brilliant. It means I can start. I can go on a mission, a discovery mission for 4 hours of trying to work out how I'm going to do this new feature that the client's asked for. And after 4 hours, the client comes to you and goes, hey, actually, can you go and fix this thing? And you can go, okay, no problem. I'm going to park this stuff that I've been doing. It's going to be hidden away in a nice safe box. And I'm going to go and troubleshoot this other thing that's maybe got a bit more urgency, knowing that 2 hours later, I can come back and carry on going again. And it came up like not in the same, probably same way as yours, but I was working on a new knowledge center for a client, and it was going to be probably about 5-7 days of work, including client feedback, and all of this was going to be done on the staging domain. So I told the client, I said, look, I'm going to start this work, but we won't be able to publish any changes to any other part of the site, because if you do, all the navigation changes that we're making, or the redirects, everything like this will all be pushed to the live site, and it will look like a mess. So I'm going to try and compartmentalize this development as much as I can. I'm going to do 2 days, and then we'll test that out, and then another 2 days. But at the end of the day, we're going to need to shut off any other changes on the site for 2 weeks while we launch this knowledge center. And then, lo and behold, 3 days in, you've ripped up the navigation, you've put all the redirects in, you've adjusted all the categories, changed stuff in the CMS, and they go, oh, can we launch this new set of new courses? And 3 days before, you'd have gone, no problem. Look, I'm just having lunch. After lunch, I'll do it, and I'll send you a link after tea, and we can get it live tomorrow. The beauty of Webflow, the absolute beauty of Webflow, and like clients are smiling, you're smiling, you're high-fiving everyone, going, oh, this is why I use Webflow, because it's so quick and easy to do these things. But instead, you're going, sorry, we can't do this now, because the stuff that we've been working on is sitting there, and if we push it live, everything's going to be chaotic. So you're going to have to wait for 7 days, or we're going to have to reduce the scope of the stuff I'm working on now, so we finish it tomorrow, so then we can do your stuff. They're like, oh, but we got an event coming up, it's on Friday, and we need it da, 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 da. And you're into all sorts of trouble. And then branching comes along, and you're like, wow, like I'm reading the docs here going, okay, this is brilliant. This is old school branching. This is version control. I can now go to my client and go, hey, that problem that we had? Don't worry about it. Like, I know how to use this thing. Webflow is a brilliant tool. This is why we use Webflow, because the product team are pushing all these new features. And then you click on the link and you go, oh, it's not for me or my client. This solves all my problems when we pay the big money. But up until that point, sorry client, sorry me, you've just got to get on with it like the rest of us. And sorry, yeah, and it has a material impact on how you feel about the product. But more importantly, as you're finding out, it puts a bad taste in the clients, and then smart people in their team, like a CTO, will go away and go, okay, maybe Webflow's not for us. Maybe all this work that Ailín has been doing is only going to be an MVP, because if this happens again in 2 months' time, we're going to be in the same place.
Yeah, but
And they could solve this by,
apart from like, it being a difficult week, and like, I'm tired and I'm stressed, and I saw the thing, like I literally tweeted like, this is awesome, it shows ambition, and then I went down and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, this is like, I can't use this. And like, I couldn't have been more cathartic. Like that fucking day, this fractional CTO was like, hey, I'm a traditional dev, you're a no-code dev, you don't really know your place in the world, so we might have to jump stack in some period of time because of these reasons. And then this feature comes out and I can't fucking use it. So like, there's a bit of everything there. It's like, you're always going to be like looked differently because you're a no-code dev. You're always going to be looked at differently. But people are using this tool because they see the potential of using this tool. And then just like when the solution was there, it just was financial. Honestly, I'd say there's nothing more grating to me is something that is gated financially. It just it's like, oh my God, like why, like how many developers are paying? I know we're probably only paying what, 0 to fucking $50 a month. Like, are they not important? Are those workers not important? Or is it just the big fucking dogs with the big hats and the big wigs? They're the only ones that you're interested in. Sorry, there's my rant.
Yeah. No,
But
like
there's
okay,
a few things that were going on.
we have,
like, yeah.
I think like if we're to say, like, let's put branching aside, and just talk about this, the sort of scale that we have of, you jump into Webflow and in an hour you can have a site up and running. So my sister and brother-in-law have a building company. They are booked out until the middle of next year. Their website is more of a sort of a brochure site that just makes them legitimate, And my sister comes to me and goes, "Hey, look, I know you do websites." She doesn't really know what I do, but she goes, "I know you do websites.
You
Could you
work on
make us a
computers. Can you
website?"
fix my iPhone?
Yeah. No, that's my mother who thinks that. Yeah. No. So she goes, can you do a website for us? And I'm thinking, okay, awesome, no problem. Bang. 2 days later, I've spun up a couple of pages. It's not my best work, but it's gonna do the job for them. And that's where Webflow was brilliant. And then you go all the way down the other end, and as you said, I work for an enterprise agency, and although I never really thought of any of the sites I built as needing enterprise level elements, there was a lot behind the scenes in terms of uptime and SLAs and stuff that I know really do have an impact in the enterprise world. And then you got yourself, who's actually pushing Webflow to the limit in terms of using it, integrating with lots of other tools and building products with it. So not marketing sites, but products with it. And you're at the cutting edge of learning the capabilities of Webflow, but also integration of Webflow, and doing a lot of the work that gets Webflow into non-traditional marketing only clients, essentially. And then you have to look at the ecosystem of, right, how are these pricing decisions made? Because enterprise is so far away in terms of like price from the next level, that all the levels that we work at, whether it's hosting, all the way up to business, CMS business, workspaces, all these kind of things, they're all relatively affordable for us who do what we do. Clients, you get one client a month, bang, all of that is paid for. It's part of the tools for the jobs. You get your Figma subscription, your Adobe subscription. It's all part of and it feels affordable. The enterprise is so far out of reach that it's not even aspirational. It's so far out of reach. There's no world that I live in where I'll ever pay that much, or clients that I work with will ever pay that much money for the level of hosting that they require. So when Webflow, what I'm getting at here is like, why are Webflow putting certain features in the enterprise bucket and gating them? Like, because there's two elements to it. Like, the first element is they're doing it because if they didn't put features in the enterprise bucket, then enterprise would lose its appeal and lose its value, and they couldn't sell it into enterprise customers with much justification. I think branching has come along in this, in that it's seen very much as a team feature, where maybe at enterprise level, whether you're working with an agency or in-house, you're going to have 3, 4, 5 devs working on Webflow at any one time, and therefore branching and branch testing becomes a useful feature. But what they're ignoring here is that feature is not necessarily related to the amount of devs you have. It's more related to what the devs working on the project want to do with that project and the complexities of the things that you're doing with that project. So it's not necessarily a numbers game of, okay, there's 5 in the team, therefore we're going to give you the branching, because you've got 5 devs, they all might want to work at it at 10 o'clock in the morning. They're missing the point that branching is a dev only tool. Like, it's for solo devs, it's for dev. That's the beauty of branching, is it's a solution for the development process. It's not a solution that was designed to just cater for multiple members of a team. And the fact that they put it at an enterprise level, it does feel like they maybe don't have any other reasons or any other features that make enterprise worth paying for, and therefore they just take a few of these features and bundle them in, and it's kind of annoying. It's locales is localization has a little bit of this taste in it, that you can go up to 5 localizations, and then if you want any more, you have to go to enterprise. There's not I want to add
much of an
6 or
issue
7
with
or
that.
8 or 9.
I think at least that's more fair. Like, there's there. Well,
but why is it fair? If I pay $29 a month for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, why can't I pay $29 a month for 6, and then the 7th, and then the 8th? Why do I have to go from 5 to infinite, and then go from $29 a month?
Why can't it be a scalable thing? Yeah, I don't know. Why can't it be scalable? Yeah, but at least with localization, it's distributed, and I don't know. Like, I've just started using the localization feature for this product, and it's good. Like, it's really good. Do we need more than 5? Probably not initially. Will we need more than 5? Probably eventually. Will Webflow localization be the solution, or will we create our own solution? I don't know. Yeah, and like, I do kind of get the value of enterprise, because at the end of the day, I don't know what their price is, but I heard someone saying from Webflow that it's cheaper than a developer. So if you're able to think of the Webflow enterprise or the Webflow ecosystem as almost as a tool that speeds up your processes so much that it's better than having another pair of hands, yeah, I get that. That makes sense to me. And that was the first time I heard that. I was like, okay, that makes a bit of sense. But to just completely have it as I don't know, it's a development tool. It's a development feature. It should be a part of it. I don't know.
I think it's some feedback that I gave to Slater the other day, actually, was on this point, is that Slater charge you to host code, essentially. So if you don't pay your $10 a month, you lose access to Slater. And by losing access to Slater, you lose access to the code that you've got on Slater. And my argument to Mason and the guys over there was that Slater is a development tool. like it does host code, but it's a development tool. So as a developer, independent of the scale of my clients, whether they can afford $10 a month or not, I should be able to, as a developer, just pay to use it as a development tool. And if the client wants to host their code, they can host their code. They can pay Slater to host their code if they want to, but it should be a development tool. And that's the same that we're saying about branching, is that it's a development tool. It's nothing to do with hosting or scale. Yes, it helps when you get bigger teams, and more than likely, as you have bigger scale, you've got more complexities that you need to deal with, and branching becomes ever more valuable. But it's so valuable to one person sitting building sites on their own screen. It's amazing. Like you just see what one. That's the beauty of computing. It's, you don't need to have this whole factory, and like I've got, like, say my brother-in-law is launching a yogurt. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
he's launching a yogurt product.
The twist
And
the 3D
the
yogurts.
minimum, yeah, the 3D yogurts, yeah, the 3D yogurts. But the minimum he has to spend on a bottle machine in Ireland is €50,000. Okay, so if he wants to bottle the yogurt in Ireland, he has to buy the machine for €50,000. Okay, that's before he's sold a single bottle of yogurt. He has to, or in the UK, you can maybe rent out the bottle machines for, I don't know, $5,000 for a weekend, and you fill all your bottles and happy days, off you go. But that's what we're talking about here, is that, like, version control and branching should allow you to sell one bottle. It should allow you to fill one bottle at a time, and then 5 bottles, and then 10 bottles. That's what it's there for. It's a technique. It's not a scale thing. You know, we don't work in the offline world. Like, computers are designed to be this super nimble. You know, you've got indie hackers building businesses, one-person businesses that generate thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars every single month. Like, they're not constrained by this, like, lack of foresight of going, they're a developer and they use all the development tools they can. We're now going, we can't do that. In Webflow, you can't do that. You can't be part of that gang, because we're restricting the tools that you can use. Like, I honestly don't mind spending a little bit more for a better tool. You know, if I've got I don't know, like, if I've got a tool at home and I can go to the DIY shop and get a better tool, I don't mind spending the money, because I can work out that, you know, if it's worth it or not. But when I go to the DIY store and that tool is my annual salary, in like, it's like I can't even justify. I'm never going to pay back that money in the efficiencies I get. And, like, we are going on and on and on here, but it's so important, I think, that Webflow find a different way to make enterprise more appealing than just gating what are really, like, bread and butter basic development features that make a development tool what they are. You know, if they had branching in Webflow, they're taking a step forward for everyone. They're taking a step forward that is very hard for other tools to catch up on. Like, the complexities involved in branching, we understand they're complex. You know, it's not easy. They've got lots of things going on: staging, pages, CMS. There's so much complexity. If they put that into the tool for everyone, like, buy other tools trying to catch up with Webflow, like that. Like, I'm Webflow through and through. Then I'm not thinking about, as he's like, I'm not thinking about going off to a different stack or a different tool, or it's just that they're winning everywhere. And yeah, I know, like, we're both frustrated here for different, like, you're getting the acute end of it, and I've seen both sides of the enterprise thing, like the value driven stuff and the non-value driven stuff. But this is one that I just feel like, whoa, guys, you just made a misstep. You just, like, because what's happening next time? What happens when another feature? There, all these amazing product team in Webflow are working on the next feature. Are they working on features for us, or are they working on features for the big payers? even though they would help us.
Mhm.
Like
I don't know.
I don't know. Like it's worrying. It is a little bit worrying, you know.
I don't know. It's a tough one. And as I said before, I'm very jealous. I would love to be using it, but I would also love if this company I'm working for never moves off Webflow and rings that bell in New York in the stock exchange. Like what a rags to riches story that would be. I would be so, and you know, they're probably going to ring that bell, but are they going to do it with Webflow? I don't know. I would fucking love it if that happened. But we'll see.
And like as a case study, and I know sort of the stuff you're working on. You know, I don't know who you're working with or what the product is, but
It's a secret.
It's a top secret.
It mightn't even exist.
We're using this product just for rant purposes. It's just a fire starter. No, but like the inspiration, you know, you see the Wisd and you know the Xano stacks and the stuff that, you know, like the Black Peak are doing, and you see a few of those case studies coming out, and you're like, God, well, this is so exciting. And in the same expert, like ringing the bell, yes, great, people are getting rich, the success is there. But if Webflow was able to be there when that bell was rung, it's just a super empowering. You know, I'm pitching stuff to my clients now, and if I can pitch stuff like that into my client, yes, it helps me. I can put bread on the table. But man, this is exciting. This is like evangelistic stuff. It's like when people come along, yeah, but you can't, it's not real coding. You can't build this. No, we can build this and we will build this. And when you're developing in Webflow, this is the process. We're professional developers. We just happen to use Webflow. It's like, it'd be amazing. Maybe in a year we'll get branching. Who knows? Maybe enterprise stuff trickles down, but who knows? But Webflow, if you listen to this, it would be great to get your thoughts. And I know you don't have to justify everything, and we are only your customers, but it would be great. It would be great to
your
to hear the rationale.
All right, man, I gotta go. I've got a couple of I've got a few bugs that I need to fix.
Right. Well, and thank you for listening. We'll be back tomorrow because Ailín's on the crusade to get 3 recordings in this week. And
no, I'm not.
Given
I'm
that
not tomorrow. It's my baby's birthday. She's 1.
Oh yes,
Maybe there's 1.
Yes.
We'll talk.
So we might
we'll try and do one
we'll
on
talk.
Friday.
We'll talk on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do a technical one on Friday because we've had enough of ranting today. So, right.
Yeah.
Over and out.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.